Hello, everybody, and welcome to another episode of UpGrade with Maria Kay, the podcast where your success, freedom, and happiness get a weekly boost. And as always, it is an honor to have you here. An absolute pleasure, because I know that your life is busy. And I know that by you taking this 30 or so minutes out of your day or evening to tend to your personal upgrade, your happiness, your own success, your own freedom, I know that you will have already made a difference to your life. Now, if you haven't already done so, hop along over to the Facebook group, UpGrade with Maria Kay, and join us. We're having a blast over there. You can share your questions, you can share stories of your upgrade, you can ask me perhaps for any tips and tools that are specific to what you are experiencing, or maybe you have some suggestions for future podcast topics. Whatever the case is, go ahead and join us and share it with your friends. I am on a mission to help as many people across the world as I can to convert their dreams into reality. Because too many of us spend our life with our dreams in our pockets, with our dreams in our handbags. And I say it's time to get them out, give them a good airing, and start to bring them to life. I'm absolutely honored today to say that we have a beautiful special guest, Sarah Ellis. Hi, Sarah.
Hi, Maria.
Now, Sarah is a hypnotherapist and she's also a transformation expert. She works from London Harley Street, and she helps thousands of clients to reach their goals in areas of health, relationships, and career. So aren't we lucky today? So today's topic is something that I know both Sarah and I not only focus on with our clients and our work, but we also make an effort, make sure that we are focusing in on it for ourselves personally, because we are on a constantly evolutionary journey. So today's topic is how to get your subconscious mind working for you rather than against you to achieve everything that you want and desire in life. So Sarah, I'm going to ask you to kick us off and just give us your take on what the subconscious mind is and how it impacts on our life.
Yes, absolutely. It would be my pleasure. Well, really, the subconscious mind and hypnosis, it can sound a little bit woo-woo, but there's nothing complicated about it. There are two parts of the subconscious, of the mind rather, and I like to think of them rather as spheres, not parts, spheres that coexist within the mind. And the two different elements of the mind are the conscious mind, which is responsible for critical thinking, and the subconscious mind. And this is the part that stores everything that's ever happened in our lives, everything that we've taken in, and it's the part that keeps you safe. But the logical mind is really only responsible for about 5% of your thinking. So, in a lot of seminars and self-help blurb, like the Tony Robbins stuff, they'll say things like, you're only using 5% of your mind. 95% of it is not accessed. Well, excuse my accent, by the way, if anyone American is listening. That's what they're referring to. So if you think, a good image is think of a tooth, and you can only see the top part of it, and then there's that long, long root that we don't see, but it's there. Now, that is the subconscious mind.
Right. Wonderful. So, in my experience, as you say, we go to a lot of different seminars, classes, and you'll learn the strategies. You'll learn what you're supposed to be doing. And it's happened to me in the past where you think, well, this is what I want to achieve, and these are the steps that I need to follow in order to achieve that, create that, or receive that. Yet, off we go and onto the sort of strategy ladder, and we're chipping away at it, but nothing's changing. Or perhaps we're even experiencing more of what we don't want. So could you sort of explain how the subconscious mind plays out in scenarios like that? Why is it that we need to really focus, sort of go inside, go down into that root.
Oh, yes, absolutely. Yes, I would love to. And I'm holding my hand up here, guilty. I did all that. I did lots of things. I mean, years ago when I was overweight and I spent many years yo-yo dieting, I would buy the books, buy the DVDs, buy exercise equipment. Nothing was changing. And then later I would go to the motivation seminars and I'd be, oh yay, this is the thing, I'm going to do this and I'm going to become a millionaire. Nothing was changing. I was still broke until I discovered the power of the subconscious mind. And really, if you don't have this part of the puzzle, nothing is going to work, because the subconscious mind will always work to protect you. So I'll give you a very simple example that makes it quite clear, and this is quite a common one. Say as a youngster at school, you started smoking to be in with the in crowd, to look cool, to not get bullied. You didn't want to be one of the nerdy ones. You didn't want to be an outsider. So you started smoking to be cool. If you were a man, it might have also been to make you a bit butch and a bit macho, which again helps you make that transition into manhood and be part of the crowd. Or if you're female, it might have, you might have been in with the cool kids. This is very, very important. It's absolutely hardwired into us to do things to belong. So if you started smoking as a teenager for it to help you, for you to be in with the in crowd, and it protected you and it worked, then many years later as an adult, you might say, well, I don't want to be a smoker anymore. Your subconscious mind has still got that in place, that it helps you, it works for you. This is something that helps you survive. So it's going to be very hard to give that up while your subconscious is holding on to it, while it thinks that it's a good thing. And that's why things like the nicotine patches don't work. People do lots of programs to give up smoking, and they go back. I've got a cousin that says giving up smoking is easy. I've done it loads of times. Because of how many people give up smoking and they go back. So that is the subconscious mind coming up and saying, this is something that works for me, I'm going to hold on to it. Now, where hypnosis and other techniques that I use, and that coaches like you and I, the techniques that we use, they come in and they work with the subconscious mind and help you to say that it's safe to let go of that now. You have other things that you can put into place to keep you safe, and then you can let go of that unhelpful habit and bring in some more supportive things that are really going to help you and help you move forward with your life.
So it's really, isn't it, about getting your mind on your side, but the full, accessing it in a full way. So, I talk about, bringing it in as your ally rather than your enemy. And in order to do that, as you've already explained a little bit, we need to get up close and personal with it. We need to kind of know what's inside in order for us to then be able to make those changes. It's a little bit like having a best friend or even a partner who isn't happy, or perhaps, is behaving in a way that isn't helping the relationship. Without the knowledge, without all of that out in the open, nothing can change, right? So,
yep.
You talk about hypnotherapy and other techniques. Do you have any other? I know what techniques I use. What other techniques do you sort of bring in? Just perhaps for helping our audience today to get some tips and tools under their belt.
Well, absolutely. I mean, one brilliant byproduct of all the seminars and the motivational weekends that I went along to was that I learned a lot. In addition to all the studying that I did in my qualifications, I also learned a lot along the way. So I learned what does work and what doesn't. And so now I have an excellent bag of tools, if you like, that I can give to people. A brilliant one is NLP. I use NLP techniques. And I'm also a big fan of the law of attraction and how our mind and our focus draws into our world what we focus on, what we give attention to. Now, the law of attraction can get a little bit of a bad reputation because of things like The Secret, because lots of people watched The Secret, they did all the manifesting things, and then, well, how's that working for you? 5 years later, you don't have the big house, you don't have the dream partner, you don't have the body of your dreams. And that is because there is something missing, and that is the subconscious mind. So what I do is when I bring all those techniques in together, working together, so my hypnosis, NLP, the manifesting techniques, and mainly the subconscious mind, which is the hypnosis, you'll find that everything comes into line and starts working for you effortlessly. And I know because I've used it to great effect in my own life. I lost a lot of weight. And as we mentioned when we were arranging this interview, Maria, you know that how you do one thing is how you do everything. So I found that when I use these techniques to change my eating patterns and the way that I felt around food, and I lost a lot of weight, I lost 60 pounds, then everything else started changing. I started having a really good self-esteem in relationships, and I'm not just talking about romantic relationships, I'm talking about friendships, work, and that affected my business, how much I felt that I could charge, how much I felt that I deserved, and everything started falling into place. So it wasn't just that I lost the weight and manifested a great body and great health. I got self-esteem in all the other areas, my work, my friendships, absolutely every area, because those are the big areas, aren't they? They're the biggies: health, money, relationships. We all want joy and success in those areas, and that's what I've found through these techniques.
Absolutely. And those are the areas that tend to trouble us the most. So I'm going to talk a little bit about how I work with my clients, not just in session, but how I ask them to continue on a daily basis to bring in into play upgrading their life in essence. So if we start with a goal or a vision that we have, an upgraded vision, what I first ask is how dedicated they are. And this applies to myself too. So first we must make a decision. And again, this has to do with our, a conscious and subconscious mind, because if we are subconsciously kind of thinking, well, I'll give it a go, but I probably might not succeed because of what happened last time that I tried to create a business or lose weight or have an amazing relationship, right? So really, it's not just about the belief about my body or my money. It's about how much I believe I'm going to succeed, right? So yeah, that's probably for me one of the very first things we start with. And it all starts with a decision and really delving deep into the beliefs around that. What do I believe? Do I believe that I can lose 60 pounds? Do I believe that I'll probably lose a few and then put a few back on? Or giving the example of your cousin and smoking, quitting smoking is easy. I've done it so many times. That's just a really funny one. So self-awareness for me, and I harp on about this all of the time, and I don't apologize for it, because without knowledge of self, we are almost in the dark. It's almost like walking around in a blacked out room and trying to, make dinner, for example. So yeah. It takes focus on a daily basis. It takes showing up. It takes setting time aside and getting up close and personal with yourself, with your mind, with your thoughts, with your beliefs, with your emotions. Now, I personally think the godmother of all of those things is mindfulness and meditation. So whether it be, as you say, hypnotherapy or simply sitting in stillness, chanting, whatever it is that takes you out of your conscious mind and allows you to be in that subconscious, pure space where you can almost reset. It's a little bit like resetting the time or resetting the dial. What can you say? I'm interested to know your take on the belief system and how you feel about beliefs and limiting beliefs in particular, Sarah.
Oh, yes. Good question, because your beliefs are the foundation for everything. Everything that's showing up in your life is informed by beliefs, and beliefs aren't always helpful. Sometimes they're faulty. So hypnosis is just a case of unearthing the beliefs that no longer serve you and replacing them with more supportive ones that are in line with the essence of who you really are and the truth, not your past conditioning. So whatever you really believe and sincerely, really from the heart desire, will come about in real life experience, but you have to believe it. So if you don't think that it's possible to have a happy marriage, meet your soulmate, have a happy life, because of maybe things that you picked up in your childhood, maybe you didn't have a good example of happy relationships or marriages around you. If those are your beliefs, there's no way, you can go and join the dating sites, you can go to singles nights. You are not going to manifest a relationship while those beliefs are still there. So it's a case of earthing out those beliefs, getting them out of the way, and putting some more helpful beliefs into place. And there are lots of ways that you can do that, and you touched upon a great one, the meditation, the silencing our mind. And what I say, I have one thing that I say over and over again, and this is important for you to get. Your point of power is in the present moment. So in other words, forget about the past. I say, don't look backwards, you're not going there. So not thinking about the past. Also, we're always in the future, or when this happens, that will be great. Oh, no, your point of power is in the present moment, which is very much where the techniques that you mentioned, like the meditation and the chanting, that's where they come in. They bring us, they anchor us in the moment and in the now. And that's fantastic. Another thing that I say is we live in a society that's obsessed, let's face it, with love and romance and meeting somebody, and really it's the underpinning of a lot of the adverts that we see on TV and in magazines is everybody's looking for love. But what I say is that everybody wants to hear those three little words, I love you. But really the most important three words that you could ever say are, I am worthy. And that's where it all starts. And if you put that into place, as you mentioned with your spiritual practice of meditation and the other things, if you let that be the core of your practice, I am worthy, you'll find that everything starts to fall into place and miracles will start showing up in your life. Everything will change if that is the basis of your life, and you make that if you like, the glasses that you see life through. You put on those glasses of I am worthy, and you're seeing everything from a place of worthiness. That it's just as you say about everything starting with a decision. Absolutely, I agree with you. And I also think another way of putting that is intention. And so even listening to this, if somebody is listening to this podcast, that's a brilliant start. You've made one start, the intention, and you are set in the right direction now. And if you bring in, I am worthy, and the first thing you say in the morning when you open your eyes, as you step out of bed, I am worthy, is going to inform everything you do. Everything that you do will have a different shade, and things will start showing up in your life. You'll have better relationships. You will make better choices. You will take better care of your body naturally without dieting or going to gyms. You will just naturally honor your body and treat it well. So yes, absolutely. I think all the things that you said, brilliant. And then bring in the element of self-worth.
I never tire of hearing the power of now. In fact, I'm going to recommend a book by Eckhart Tolle. It's actually called The Power of Now. If you guys haven't read it, then go ahead, grab it. And also, I am worthy. It goes as you say, it filters into every area of our life. And if we can start to focus on that mantra, in that mindset on a daily basis, I'm worthy of being treated well at work. I'm worthy of creating my successful business. I'm worthy of having a great relationship, and so on and so forth. Then things do shift. We did touch on this in previous conversation, didn't we, Sarah, that moving energy, as you already mentioned, just taking that shuffle, that one step, paying attention, perhaps shifting your attention from the negative or from the unhelpful to a different arena, perhaps I am worthy or I can do this. One of my previous mantras has been, I can do this. And actually one that I use personally, because let's just be really frank for a second. When you're on a path of personal or spiritual development, when you're on a path of upgrade, this is something that we focus on within our community. Upgrading doesn't mean that something's broken in your life or that your life is a complete shambles. You can actually come at it from the angle of, well, I know I have the power within me to change things that don't please me or that aren't congruent with who I currently am or who I'm becoming. So with that knowledge that we are actually, by our very nature, evolutionary, we're designed to want more. And that's not coming from an egotistical point of view. It's coming from a very divine place in us, that we're here to create more, to be more, to show up as more, so that we can be better human beings. So with that in mind, having the mindset that, well, actually, I need to keep going in order to perpetuate the change or to continue the upgrade, as it were. And sometimes that can be tough. It can be exhausting. And very often we want to just slip back into old patterns because it's easier. It's more comfortable. That whole comfort zone subject. But one of my mantras is keep going. And if you say that to yourself on a regular basis, keep going, whether it's quitting smoking, whether it's building a business, whether it's creating a completely upgraded life in the way that you run your home. It's something that I did years ago, a lot of years ago, that, running a home started to become a real drag for me. I didn't just leave home and not run it anymore, but I brought systems in place that aligned with who I was becoming, and that completely freed me up to be who I was supposed to be. So I can do and keep going, also mantras that I highly recommend when things are getting a little bit overwhelming, because as you already mentioned, Sarah, we do operate from our conscious mind a lot of the time. It really is the way we've been operating for most of our lives. So if this stuff is new to somebody, then having the opportunity to utilize things, modalities like mantras or affirmations. I know that both you and I have used those in the past and still do. And bringing in that good feeling with it. As you say, a lot of people misconstrue the law of attraction because it's probably not been explained in its full entirety, and that's a shame, because there's a lot to be said for the law of attraction and all of the other universal laws that don't often get a mention. All right, so mindfulness. What does that mean to you, Sarah?
I would come back to what I said earlier about being in the present moment. And there are many ways in which we distract ourselves and come out of the moment. We're bombarded by images all the time. We're going about our journey to work. We're seeing lots of different adverts for things. There are lots of ways that we can come out of the moment and distract ourselves. TV, food, Facebook, the big increase of social media, tweeting. I mean, come on, we're all familiar with being at something, a lunch or a birthday party or a dinner or something, and everybody's got their phones out and they're taking photos of things and putting it up, you know, tweeting it or putting it on Facebook. And I often think, can we just all be here in the present? Can we just enjoy this? Just be here. So that's what I would call mindfulness, really being in the moment. And one thing that I look back and I think, how much time did I waste? How much happiness did I lose by not being in the moment? And a big thing for me was, when I used to be overweight, was I didn't live my life, because I thought, when I lose weight, I'll do that. And, you know, that is something that will really take you out of the moment and the present. And I look back and I think, oh my gosh, I was 26. I should have been out there doing things, having fun, not, you know, whatever I was doing, like sat in a bedroom and thinking. I can remember I would do things like, I was meant to be going out that night to something, and I would try on 10 different outfits and think I looked terrible in all of them and cry, and then say I'm not going out. And so that was a way that I missed a lot of my life, instead of being really in the moment and saying that I'm going to enjoy this moment and be here and not take myself out of it. So does that answer your question, what mindfulness is for me?
Absolutely. I totally shadow what you just said, because it comes back to moving energy as well, and being really dedicated to living I use the term upgrade, you know, the upgraded vision that you have. And, you know, a lot of people misconstrue that and think perhaps it means bling, it means, you know, luxury yachts and luxury clothes, what have you. But it really is individual to each and every person. So, you know, your idea of a life upgrade probably is completely different to my idea of a life upgrade. The fact that within the last 12 to 24 months, I've completely overhauled my life and brought my dream to life by living on a tropical beach for most of the year. Now, for me, that's my idea of an upgrade. It may not be your idea. It might be your idea of hell. But whatever it is that you are being drawn to, whatever your inner desires are nudging you towards, then it really does pay off to find any way to start to bring even small snippets of that into your life. As you mentioned with your weight loss journey, you know, making the decision to, okay, well, I don't like where I am with my body now. There isn't something I can do to click my fingers and have it completely settled overnight. However, I can boost myself up so much so that I can go out and have a really good night with some friends, right? So, for example, years ago when I was having that, I'll give the example of having sort of real drag with running a home and all the things that come with running a home with a full family and what have you. You know, I wasn't in a position to get a full-time housekeeper. However, I was in a position to get somebody to come in once a week and do the things I didn't want to do, because I'd much rather be doing the things that I love to do. So it was a small step in the right direction, working with what I have right now rather than waiting until I was in that position to completely bring someone in full time, as it were. So as you say, living in the now and looking at what have I got available to me now, or how could I reach for a better feeling thought? How could I shift this belief that I've got maybe a little bit to the left or a little bit to the right, rather than trying to completely turn it on its head? So, as I say, small shuffles of faith rather than the big leaps of faith, to bring power back into the now that you're living in.
Yeah, that's absolutely brilliant. I love that. One step. Yep, take one step. I say the journey of 1,000 miles starts with one step, and you will get there. But you have to take that one step.
Keeping in that momentum and keeping going, and dedicating yourself on a daily basis, whatever that may be, whether you see a hypnotherapist, or whether you go onto YouTube and download, utilize the tons and tons of material that's on there in the way of guided meditations, whether you tune into a weekly podcast like this to check in, or whether you decide to just go and walk in nature. Leave your phone behind, as you quite rightly said, Sarah. Leave your phone behind, leave everybody behind, and just go out and be in nature and be in the moment. Allow yourself to just release all of that kind of tension that we carry around with us, and the forward thinking or the backward thinking. It could even be sticking on your favorite song and dancing once a day for your kind of mind stillness moment, your sort of connection moment. It really doesn't have to be this formal sitting in lotus position or, laying on the couch to take part in a guided meditation. I advise a lot of my clients, especially the clients that work, really stressful corporate jobs, to take themselves off to the toilet and put the toilet seat down and sit and let everything just settle throughout the day, so that they can bring themselves back into the moment. I also advise, because most of us carry a smartphone around with us now, to set a timer at a regular interval, like an alert, that reminds you to be still or stop and breathe. And that can also be a great opportunity to check what's going on in your mind. If you have, say, a timer 3 times a day, or if you're lucky enough to have a real open schedule, maybe on the hour every hour, perhaps doing it for 30 days, just to have a little deep explorative 30 days worth of what's going on inside your mind. And take a pen and paper with you and jot down what you're thinking in that exact moment when the timer does go off. Because it's all well and good to go to the seminars once a year, or see a therapist, a holistic therapist, or whatever on a weekly or monthly basis. But as you say, Sarah, it is in that moment-to-moment energy, thoughts, in that moment-to-moment practice that we have the power to shift things. And I'm a big believer. This is one of the first things I say to my new clients is, you are going to go on a journey to become your own guru. You are going to become your own coach, because I think that when we take responsibility for our own lives, which then equal our thoughts, our beliefs, and everything else that comes with it, then that's when we have our power back, rather than handing it over to somebody else, an expert. Not that expert isn't doing a good job, but it cannot live up to an individual taking responsibility for their own upgrade.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think do both. Take responsibility yourself and hire somebody as well, and
absolutely,
tune into the podcasts and read the books and everything. And then if you're doing them in alignment, you will definitely get results. But you're absolutely right. It needs to start with you. And what I say is, it's a bit, that irony of, if you exercise, you have more energy.
Absolutely, yeah.
And so I say because a lot of my clients say to me, I'm really, really busy. I don't have time to meditate, to do yoga, to go for a walk in the woods or whatever it is. And I say, imagine it's like you put a £10 note into a machine and you got back £50. That's what this is going to do. In the way that exercising gives you more energy, doing this stuff, absolutely, spending time in the moment with ourselves will pay off tenfold. It really will, because we will be so much more productive.
For sure. Well, two sayings come to mind. I'm probably going to be paraphrasing. I actually think it was Buddha who said it, that if you don't have 15 minutes to meditate, then meditate for an hour. Somewhere along those
love
lines.
It.
And also, they say you have to spend money to make money. Not always, but it's along the same lines of the exercise analogy that you used.
Yeah.
Well, I would like to just end by encouraging you to make a decision to do what it takes for you. Now, whether that's hiring somebody, or you may not be in a position to hire somebody right now, but you may be in a position to start dedicating 30 or 15 or 10 or 5 minutes a day with the view to getting the support that you need. I didn't do it alone. I did for years, and that was not a mistake, but I always say I took the long route so you can take the short route. That's what I say, because the day that I made a decision to get help and support, and I hired my first coach all those years ago, was the day that my life just, you talked about that miracle transformation. That is what happened. And also taking responsibility and stop playing the victim. I don't have time, I don't have money, no one loves me, I'm not worth it, I can't do it, all of those things. So make a decision, take things into your own hands and hire somebody, set aside 15 minutes a day. And that biggie that Sarah so wonderfully shared, you are worthy. If you have a desire for a better life, if you have a desire or a vision, something that's pulling you forth, it means that it is there to give you a preview of what is possible. It's not OTT, it's not frivolous. Some people may have told you in the past, don't be so ridiculous, you shouldn't hire a cleaner, that's just way too pretentious, or whatever it is for you. So it's not. If it's coming into your awareness, then it's there to guide you forward on this evolutionary journey that you're on, that we're all on. So listen very carefully and stop ignoring your desires, because you are so worth it. Well, Sarah, it's been an amazing pleasure. I know that you are contactable. You're all over the internet. So how can our audience, if they would like to have a chat with you or contact you, how can they get hold of you?
Yeah, absolutely. I am actually at the moment having my website completely redesigned and rejigged. So my website isn't up at the moment. However, I am contactable through Facebook, so go to my fan page. So it would be, by the way, there's no H on my name, so it's Sarah Ellis, S-A-R-A, Ellis, Sarah Ellis, public person. Or if you want, you're very welcome to Facebook friend me. You won't see much apart from me walking my dog and pictures of my dog.
I love your dog.
Yeah, well, he really puts all this stuff into practice because he's very in the moment, and he's absolutely, he lives all that we talk about, because he just gets up every morning and life is about joy and having a great time. So he's an example to us all.
Wonderful. Wonderful. Well, everybody, I'm leaving you with as much love and courage as possible, as much as you can absorb in this moment, to take that first step, make a decision, and decide today that you're no longer going to allow your subconscious mind to rule the roost, and start to utilize your mind as the power tool that it actually is. Imagine, I'm going to leave you with this last analogy. Imagine a big garden power tool, like a hedge trimmer or something like that. In the right hand, that tool can make beautiful images. It can make a garden go from, crazy overgrown to this beautiful view. In the wrong hand, that piece of equipment can be extremely dangerous. It can cause damage. If you think about your mind in that way, that you can, if you decide to, take charge of this power tool that you've been afforded in the brain and start to have it work for you rather than against you. So I'm raising my hand. I'm all in. I'm going to start taking even more charge of my mind, and I encourage you to do the same. Until next time, I'd love to see you in the Facebook group. Go and share your experience.